Hi, so I'm absolutely delighted to have Steph, the presenter of her own chat show, the Butterfly Princess Show, joining me today. As you know, I often invite guest bloggers to write a blog, and Steph and I thought it'd be fun to have a chat. So, good morning, Steph.
Hi Victoria, and thank you for inviting me to be on your blog. Thank you for the opportunity.
I'm delighted to chat to you again, Steph, because you interviewed me on your show, didn't you? Can you tell everybody a little about yourself, Steph?
So hi everyone, I'm Steph. I'm a young lady, a young woman who has a physical disability, cerebral palsy. I'm a wheelchair user, but it's really important because I just want to get this out there for people and listeners or whoever may see this, is that I don't let my disability define me. I know that some people in society just see the disability and not the actual person, but I want to show people that I'm more than just a person in a wheelchair. I'm Steph. Just Steph. I'm not Steph who's cerebral palsy in a wheelchair user. My The only difference between me and somebody who is say, I shouldn't say normal because nothing's normal these days, but the only difference between me and somebody who considers themselves to be normal is that my legs don't work, so you have to use a wheelchair to get around. But apart from that, I'm no different from anyone else.
Fantastic, Steph. Can you tell me a little bit about the Butterfly Princess Show? Because I know I follow you on social media and I just love listening to your interviews. I love your interview style. You have some really interesting guests on there. So if you tell me a little bit about the show and how did this all start up? Where did you get the idea from?
So, the idea of the Butterfly Princess show is that it's all on social media platforms. So I have a YouTube channel. I'm on Instagram and Facebook. It's all under the same, like, the Butterfly Princess show. So if you like go on to any of them platforms and you just type in the Butterfly Princess show, it will come up. And I do a series of interviews with various different people from various different backgrounds and from different walks of life. I say it's an interview in the email for it to sound a bit more professional, but for me, it's not really an interview as such. It's more of a friendly chat between two friends. So it could be like a chat between two friends who are sharing a glass of wine or a cup of tea or a coffee or a piece of cake. And what I want to promote is a really relaxed atmosphere. So, that I want people that I interview or chat to feel really relaxed. So, I just think that it's much more um natural to do it my way because you know everyone has a different story to tell because in life we've all had different experiences and
Yeah.
we've all been on different journeys in life, and I want people to open up to me and to share information, share stories about their life that they may not have openly discussed before, only if they want to, of course, and they feel comfortable. Like when I
Absolutely. So, how did you first get the idea for the Butterfly Princess Show? How was it born?
This is a really personal story, and I think one that it is upsetting, and it does feature aspects of child abuse and mistreatment. when I was a very young child, from being 3 months to 11 years of age, I was in the care of a caregiver, and this caregiver wasn't a very nice person. Even to this day, I can't say the name, or I hate the name of the name because of what that name is associated with. So so this person was very not a very nice person to me. They were very evil and very nasty, and so they would hit me on a regular basis. They would call me fat, ugly and disgusting on a daily basis. And I always referred to myself at that time as being a little girl in the bathroom, because this caregiver would regularly put me in a bathroom all on my own. Well, they wouldn't put me in a bathroom. They would literally throw me in the bathroom, where on numerous occasions I nearly hit my head on the back of the bathtub that they had in the bathroom. And during that time that I was alone in that bathroom, and I had a lot of things going on in my head. And then in that time that I created this imaginary friend that I called Emma. And I know that she wasn't there with me in a physical sense, but she was there with me in my mind, because I didn't have anyone to talk to during that years of abuse and mistreatment, because it was a very difficult time for me. And it really impacted on my mental health, I left that person's care when I was 11, but it still had a very negative impact on me, especially on my
Yeah.
mental health. About 5 years ago, 6 years ago, I think I had a mental breakdown. I think I was suffering from PTSD from that experience of abuse, where I ended up in a psychiatric hospital. And I was self-harming. I wanted to end my life and everything, and I just didn't want to be here anymore, because that experience of being put in that bathroom and being called all horrible names. And you
Shocking
start,
stuff.
when you told that you yeah, when you're told that you're fat, ugly and disgusting and you're worthless, and no one will want you any in life, and you're useless at things, and it really sticks by you, and it really sticks with you. And it has followed me through my early adulthood, really, because because people say to me, like, who watch my stuff, like, oh, you're fabulous at what you do. And like, you will say, like, you're really pretty, or you're really outgoing. But I don't see all that, because that it's been drummed into me, and it's sort of hard to forget. And so, like, you focus on the negative things rather than on the positive things, and it sort of followed me around throughout my adult life. So I've had, like, people say, so all them sort of negative feelings, sort of from my experience of being abused by that caregiver, came flooding back, because it sort of interjected with itself. And so that's where the Butterfly Princess show was born. The Butterfly Princess, like, brand song, if you will, was that um I really wanted to show people that, you know, I'm not all them things that people say that people said that I was when I was that young girl. And, you know, I want to prove to people that, you know, I'm not just some little girl to be shoved away in the bathrooms because she made to go on long walks that I couldn't do and stuff like that. So that's where it was born from, really.
And Steph, I know your story because we spoke about this last time we spoke, and it's just heartbreaking to know that anybody has had to go through that experience. And I'm very sorry that you did. You know, it is absolutely devastating to hear. What's a typical day like for you then, Steph? Because I know you're quite busy because quite often it will be that you're on your third interview of the day and so on.
Yeah, the thing that I love about this job that I have is that I've done it all myself. You know, I've had literally no support from anyone apart from my mum, so I've had to find all my own contacts and just sending out as many emails as possible to people and see who will respond and agree to have a chat with me. And then it's just like arranging, you know, like responding to emails, you know, getting people in available slots, and then I record all my interviews via Zoom, so it's all virtual. So although I do like to get out the house, sometimes I'm just a bit limited on transport. That's one of the reasons why I do everything virtual, because you know, I just love to chat to people, and you know, you never know, everyone's different, so I could be talking about one thing to one person the next, and then one thing about to another person in the next few hours. So the whole variation, really.
And you have some really interesting questions for people, and all your interviews are different as well, or your chats are different to everybody. Do you just do it naturally, or do you have pre-prepared questions? Do you do a little bit of research on the people beforehand?
Well, I love to do a bit of research because you know, I'm a history lover, so but I don't like to be too prepared, because you never know how you're going to get on with that person, you know, how much that person is willing to share. Me, everyone's different, so one person could be more open than one person, or another person could be more of a closed book. So it's that whole variation, and I just love to have the a genuine conversation with someone, and go on a journey with that person, because you never know where that conversation is going to lead, or where that's going to take you.
Absolutely. So if you could interview anyone from history, who would you like to interview? Because I know you're very keen on history and
Cause
you're reading in your books.
yeah, I'm really into history, like the Second World War, and you know, like I'm really into Judaism as well. I'm not a religious person, but I'm really into Judaism. So if I had the choice, I would choose to convert to Judaism, because I think the history of Judaism is really interesting. What they went through with the Holocaust, and you
Yeah,
know, their tradition and everything. And so I love to anyone from history, so anyone from that era of, like, you know, like, because I've read so many books about you know, people who've survived the Holocaust, and you know, the books they've written, and you know, Anne Frank would be one particular person to mind, because she wrote them diaries, and I would have loved to have known what it'd been really like to live within that small area with all them people. And it must have been really scary as a Jewish person to live in them times for the persecution of what we went through.
Absolutely. That's a brilliant answer, Steph and Frank. She will be so interesting. What about a celebrity then? If any celebrities are listening out there, who would your dream celebrity person be to have a chat with?
Um, well, I'm not really. This is quite a bit of a hard one for me because of what I'm into. I'm more sort of like an academic, so I don't particularly like to read gossip mags or anything like that. So anyone really. Really into I'm into watching football and tennis, or the historian. So I really like listening. There's a historian called Lucy Worsley, and I love Lucy Worsley. I love watching all her programs. She's done various
Yeah.
programs about the Russian Tsar and the wives of Henry VIII. So I would love to, have a chat with her, and because she's the curator of historic royal palaces as well. So anyway, so I would love to interview her and chat to her about why she became a historian, and why she does why she why she's sort of done the program she's done.
And I think she's got such a brilliant way of explaining things as well. She just brings history to life, doesn't she, in her programs? I love watching her work. So, have you got any advice that you give to a younger self then, seeing where you are today and the success of your chat show and everything? Have you got any advice that you give your younger self?
Well, the thing that the younger self is, it's interesting that you asked that question, Victoria, because when people say what advice would they give to the younger self, and I always look back to that little girl in the bathroom that I
Mm,
was, and I still envisage that little girl in that house, in that bathroom, and if I was to go to her now, I would sit beside her and say, what that caregiver has did to you. She was a total evil person, and but you've risen above what she said to you and what them other kids said about you, and so just to show that I am a representation of what that little girl in the bathroom has become.
absolutely, Steph. Who would you like to interview? Have you got any requests for anybody specifically or anyone in any types of work lines that you'd like to interview?
I would love to interview people from the travel industry, because I put a post out um, at the weekend really, because um, this September I'm going on a cruise around, so I'll be visiting places like Rome, Corsica, Barcelona, things like that. And I've always wanted to visit Rome because, of being into history, so of the Roman Empire and stuff. But I don't know if I will get to see Rome because on that cruise they can't offer adapted vehicles, or when they do, or if they do, they charge you like hundreds and hundreds of pounds. So I would like to chat to anyone and have a panel discussion about travel, and everything that sort of like, because you're disabled, it isn't fair that you know you can't explore the places that you want to go and visit in the world because you're disabled and because the facilities aren't available.
Yeah, funnily enough, I got an email from my local MP today, and we've been having a chat about accessibility, with the government's proposals to take the ticket offices away from train stations. I mean, that's just a lifeline for people. How they can even consider that is just beyond comprehension, isn't it, Steph? I mean, a lot of these machines that you have to buy the tickets from are not even at wheelchair user accessible height, are they? There's people with hidden disabilities that need some extra support. There's people that don't really use the apps and so on the telephones. I mean, they're just going to isolate so many people doing that, aren't they?
Of course, and you know, and it's really good that people are bringing these to the forefront of like, because we've heard a lot on the news about the ticket offices and everything, and I know like moving to a very digital world of everything. But I think it's really important that we have these discussions about travelling and different aspects of life, so everyone in society can feel that they're included and that they do matter.
Yeah, definitely, definitely. I mean, it's one thing trying to trim your budget, but when it's at the detriment of people, it just feels so wrong, doesn't it? So before we wrap up, you've got a time machine. I think I already know where you're going to go for one of your journeys, but you've got two trips. Where are you going? Are you going in the past, back to some of your historical times, or you're going to head off into the future?
Um, well, again, because of being a history time, so I would love to go in time and visit, the Tudor court, the time of Anne Boleyn, because before we did this set up this interview, I think one of the questions you asked me to think about was what guests from the who were dead or alive would you invite to a dinner party? And Anne Boleyn would be one of them people, because there's been so much written about her, and I think she was very misunderstood, especially of what she was accused of. So I would really want to go back into that time and really get to know her as a person, and sort of work out for myself, well, was she all them things that she was accused of?
She was
And the
actually my
second,
mum's favourite. Sorry, Steph. I was just going to say she was
so
actually my mum's favourite person in history, and my mum named my second name as Anne with an E after Anne Boleyn. So, yeah.
that's really interesting, that, because I just love everything about the Tudors and Henry VIII in myself, and so like but I'd really love to go back in time again to sort of just experiencing really back in the time of like when Judaism really started, and sort of like where all the traditions came from, because like I say, I'm fascinated by Judaism and the history of everything. So it'd be good for me. It'd be good to travel back in time to a place where Judaism really started, because I studied that for my A level, first century Judaism and the beginnings of Judaism, and uh, you know I sort of like, why were these people sort of persecuted like during the Second World War? What were what was behind Adolf Hitler's I mean, we know that Adolf Hitler was off the scale. He was a maniac, but what drives somebody to hate a set of people so much that he would have wanted to wanted to eradicate a whole people from history, really.
Yeah, yeah. Mm. So, what would your superpower be, Steph? You can have any superpower. What would it be?
Just to just go I would love to have butterfly wings, like like I would love to be like a, like taking on the role of a really strong fictional character, like the characters in Game of Thrones, like Daenerys, where she's the mother of dragons. I'd like to be the mother of butterflies.
Oh, I think that would be fantastic. I'm just looking at your ink in there as well, Steph. Can we have a look at your tattoo?
Yeah, it's really good. So because I'm into like classical music and ballet and stuff, so this was sort of like an inspiration from. So it took me from like the Odette deal from the ballet Swan Lake. So we have like this side is representing the Odette side, the O'Deal side because she's like the black swan, and then we have the white swan on this side, and then obviously the butterfly wings because that is what I represent.
It's beautiful, Steph. How long did that take to get finished? It's quite intricate,
About
isn't it?
4 hours. Yeah, it's very intricate, but I like the design.
It's beautiful. Well, Steph, thank you so much for having a chat to me today. I think you're so inspiring, and I'm looking forward. Have you got some good interviews coming up? I believe you're interviewing Joe Grayson soon, aren't you? And have you got any other people lined up?
So I'm just constantly looking for people to come on my show because you never know. Now that I'm up on YouTube, I'd love to have like my own show on like TV, like BBC or ITV and stuff. So I'm looking for as many people as I can to like appear on my show. So you never know, anyone who sees this or reads it in the blog form, but they can always get in touch with me, and you can follow me on social media, my Facebook, Instagram and YouTube, and just like get in touch and let's have a chat.
Fantastic. Well, I look forward to watching some more of your chats and interviews, Steph. Thank you so much. Steph from the Butterfly Princess Show. Have a good day, Steph. Bye-bye.
Thank you, you too. Thanks. Bye bye.
Bye.